Hello, welcome to the Mediaverse podcast. My name's Kyle. As always, there's gonna be no news. It's gonna be a topic by myself, video in hand, and everything. So today I've been just doing some thinking, and this year is actually going to be the mark of PlayStation's 15th anniversary, which is the third PlayStation. And during at this time, this was the console that literally got me through a pretty a pretty hard time in my life. I was gonna be very blunt with everybody. After graduation, I did not get a job for 7 years. I was too busy just try to get a job, and no one let me. And there were a lot of reasons I couldn't really get a job. And I took care of my dog, and I took care of the house and everything back then. And this was during the recession when I graduated right after the recession and everything. So, um, the PlayStation 3 is a very important console in my opinion and to me sentimentally. So, since everybody's talking about grabbing PlayStation games or whatever before this PlayStation store closes, which is gonna eventually gonna happen, we all know that, and that's kind of a problem right now. Um, Most of this generation, really, before I got the PlayStation 4, got me through a really tough time in my life. So having these games and trying to look for them while you're pretty much being poor and stuff. I found ways of making money on the side and stuff, but it really didn't get you anywhere. But let's just get on with everything. So I'm gonna show you the PlayStation I got. This was my first PlayStation 3. I have two PlayStation 3s, because when you start having a job, you realize nothing's really off limits unless it's the price. So, this is my very first system. Yes, 18-year-old Kyle did this. And I don't regret it. I love the Borderlands. There was a Naughty Dog logo right here. I love their games. And I had a lot of good games on there. I don't have them all because I kind of take away my duplicates and just migrate them to the next system, like the Uncharted collection. I'll tell you this: I played a lot of Uncharted 3 multiplayer. I loved it. I loved playing online with the headset on and just like whispering behind someone's back and going, "Shh, just die," and snapping their neck off and everything. This was when I first got this console. I did not know that this wasn't backwards compatible with PS2s. I learned that a little bit later, but I bought it. My first game was a $20 game because when you buy a system for like $500 to $400, pick the cheapest game, which was Sonic 06. And I'll say this: I had a lot of fun with that game, and I don't enjoy it anymore because the internet apparently doesn't enjoy it. But that game was ambitious for its time. It was just a lot of problems and too many cooks separating and all that other fun stuff. So yeah, and I even remember upgrading the storage myself. I even remember upgrading the storage, and I did a pretty good job on it and everything. So I've learned to be. The system taught me about technology and stuff, and this is my very first PlayStation, and I upgraded this bad boy to a 500 gigabyte. So, and then years later, after the PlayStation got discontinued, I went with my buddy Chris. We love going to retro gaming stores just to find out what's out there and everything. And found this fat boy over here, and It costed me my entire Christmas money I got from my father. Just so you know, I was employed, so I had every right to risk it. So I found this bad boy just sitting on like a pair like spare parts. And this is gonna be my project PlayStation, and I'm gonna keep this as my trophy, as a memento in case of emergencies. Um, this is the PlayStation 3 80 gigabytes. It is not the first version of the 80 gigabytes of the 80 gigs. It's well, not really the first, but this is the first version of the 80 gigabytes. And the difference between this version and the other version is that this version is emulating the hardware, not using actual hardware. Most of the time, I'm an actual hardware type of person, but this was too good not to pass up and everything. And like I said, and I'm always going to say this, emulation's always been a gray area. There's a lot of difference, as you can see. Like, you can see the Chrome right here. You can see this lifts up because the PlayStation was also a media hub. So you could put an SSD card here. I don't know what you put here. Hold on, let me check. CUFC? I don't even know what that is. A USC. I might have to look that up one day to figure that out. And a PlayStation memory card. I actually remembered, I had my PSP at the time, and I went to Chris's house. He had a 60 gig, which that thing broke. And, I actually remember putting that in there and everything. And believe it or not, this thing here watched it right off there. We're watching Sue Crichton, which later I got on DVD. Now I have on Blu-ray, which is right over there, which is great. But, you know, every great game has great software. So I'm not going to do any gameplay. I'm just going to show you the box because this is more of a short-term podcast for fun. And it's more for me and anything. So I'm going to start off with a good one because these things are going to go up in price anyway. But I got them while they're cheap. Ratchet and Clank Future Tool Destruction, Ratchet and Clank Crack in Time, and then Ratchet and Clank Into the Nexus. There is a game it's good. There's a physical copy of Quest for Booty that's exclusive in Europe physically. So that's gonna go up in price. I might as well try to get my hands on that one somehow. But this was the super, not the super. This was the Future Trilogy, which really didn't age that well title wise, because now we got the ripped apart Ratchet and Clank Ripped Apart, which is an amazing game on PS5. Amazing game. I highly recommend it. If you can get it. If you feel like it needs to be small, a smaller size, if you need to make it like a smaller, not smaller, a better price, I get it, $70. But I will say this: Sony is kind of justified. After all, we get kind of charged out the butthole, like by other developers, and the only one that proved it that deserves their $50, that deserves our $60 or $70 is Sony. I hate to say that, but these are really good games, and I like them. They're really fun. Like, they also get into the origins of the Lombax and Ratchet as an orphan, which is very weird because there was a Lombax in the second game, and they kind of just dropped her like hot water or hot coffee or something. I can't even know. But these games are great. I might want to go revisit Into the Nexus, though, because it's fun. I mean, it's a short Ratchet and Clank game, too, so I might as well go back into the Nexus. Maybe I'll platinum it. Who knows? Yeah. So So now let me look at the next set that I'm gonna bring up. Another Insomniacs trilogy, I would say, would be great. That is great. Wait, that's not it. You're not belonging in there. Well, well. Oh, there you are. Sorry about that, camera guys. Um, Here's a another good trilogy by Insomniacs that I absolutely fell in love with. Resistance, Fall of Man, Resistance 2, and Resistance 3. Resistance is an amazing series that's a first-person shooter. Made me kind of fall in love with the FPS genre. So thank you, Insomniacs. Sorry. And Resistance Resistance 1 has a very great length, and hilariously, this game has no patch and it has DualShock compatibility. Which I went back to this game multiple times. And it also had the Covenant X Play 5 out of 5. And X Play was pretty relevant back in the day on G4 when it was on TV. You guys might want to know what that was. That was before YouTube. And then we got Resistance 2, which I loved. This was a really short campaign. That was probably one of the biggest gripes of this game, was that it was very short. But these are my original copies that I got when it first came out. Like, I got Resistance right when Greatest Hits came out, which I kind of regret a little bit. Resistance 2, I first got it when it first came out. Like, and Resistance 2 is like the end of the Nathan Hale story, but not the end of the Resistance story. But it was a really it was a really good story. Like, you get to see what the American front would be like on the Chimera side of a war-torn America, which was always interesting because we never ever see America in video games being war-torn. I don't care if it's science fiction or anything like that. I mean, it's very rare to see that in video game media sometimes. And then Resistance 3. Okay, this game has a special place in my heart. As much as I hate that you have to install this game and then have to wait an entire thing, and it's a really long install plus patches. I hated that. I really did. Most of the online for this is all gone now, so there's really no reason to go back to it. So, yeah. But, but back to Resistance story. The first two is about Nathan Hale. The third one's about Capelli and him finishing what Nathan Hale left off. And it was a really fun ride. Seeing and then ending in New York was really good. And seeing the end of Hale's story is not Hale's the killer that killed Hale, which was Capelli. You find out he's a changed man. He has a family. He has stakes now. Yeah, I remember how important this game was. This is actually a game that skipped a year, actually, if I remember correctly. If I remember correctly, Resistance actually skipped. Zombies usually had like a 2 year development cycle between each game, and this one was the year that they actually skipped. And this was supposed to end the console generation. This was supposed to end the console generation, not end like Last of Us. I mean, Insomniacs were on the console generation, but due to the recession, we had to hold on to these consoles a lot longer. So these consoles lasted 7 years more than they should have. But also, these games were really. I just liked them. I played them. I played three. I played two on the hardest difficulty. Played three on the hardest difficulty. I just never got the platinum for it. I think I should. You can never get the platinum for Resistance 2. 10,000 enemies. Grr. What were you thinking, Insomniacs? Another good game I found, and it was like during the post time, during PlayStation 4 time, PlayStation 4 post, and I played this on the PlayStation Store, on the PlayStation Now on cloud. Motorstorm Apocalypse. Fun game, little racing game, archaic and everything. It just throws everything at you. This was the last of the MotorStorm games. Feel bad that this is the last of it. And oh yeah, and I figure we can go talk about this. This would be a good time also to bring this one out. PlayStation was also the home of remasters. So this is out. This is when remasters first started in this generation, because thanks to this version of the PlayStation, which are the ones with the fatty silvers and later the slims, taking out the backwards compatibility, they had to do remasters, which are great. I mean, make the game look better. They're still PS2 games technically, and we got Jak and Daxter. I still feel sad that we never really got a true number 4 from Naughty Dog. And I feel really bad that we never got Jak X on here, but they fixed that with the PlayStation Collection. But they smoothed it out on here, though. Well, not the PlayStation Classics. But they really smoothed it out on here. These are the best way to play them is on a PS3 version. Believe it or not. And then we got Ratchet and Clank Collection, which I remember actually picking this up when it first came out. And the Jak and Daxter ones. These were really fun. I really love these collections. And when you picked this up, they gave you a copy of Deadlock. So you technically had the whole PlayStation collection. And you could only get that digitally, unfortunately. But you get them all digitally. And you pretty much got like a lot of cool stuff like for it. So you got Ratchet and Clank going commando, Up Your Arsenal. And they all interact with each other as well. And this was to coincide with the 10th anniversary. And Up Your Arsenal even had the multiplayer. Like, and I played almost all through it. I think I beat this one. This was probably the only collection I beat all the games on. So yeah, and now this one I kind of went back to a little bit, and I sold this like a while ago, but I have a really amazing girlfriend, and my birthday was coming up, and I didn't even ask for it for my birthday. We were going through her stuff, and I found she had some she needed money, and she's an avid collector like me. So, and we were looking at all the games, and she had a few really expensive ones. I'm not going to go off the tongue just for you guys, but she had a sealed copy of Metal Gear HD, which got removed off the PlayStation Store, and I think Steam and all that stuff. Still in its plastic, because I haven't even put it in yet. Uh-oh. I might have to open this. Nope, the disc is still in place. That's just the menu. But it came with Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, and Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Doesn't go with Metal Gear, and she gave it to me because she also had a duplicate technically. Because I looked at it, she had all the Metal Gear games in one thing. So I said, "Do you want me to take this, or I'll buy it off you?" And she said, "No, this is your present. This is one of your presents." And I told her, you don't have to do that. I'll buy it off of you. No. You do this. She's very sweet. So she's very sweet, and I love her, which is great. And speaking of Metal Gear, the game that Kojima and Konami refused to port, because Kojima's out and Konami is literally just out of control. I know they would make money if they ported this. But Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, Snake's Final Hurrah. This game has 30 minutes of cutscenes and stuff. Really amazing cutscenes. Really amazing everything. Really like one of my favorite Metal Gear Solid games. This is literally the game that started got me into Metal Gear. I know I started at the end of it, but I still understood it. And then when I went into playing the HD collection for the first time, played Metal Gear Solid 2, started really understanding it. I played a little bit of 3. 3 I got into it, but 4 was the one that got me into it. And then Peace Walker is pretty much a is pretty much a prequel to Metal Gear Solid. It's a prequel sequel to Metal Gear Solid. All right. So, with that out of the way, I got these games coming up. And these are the games that helped us. So, Xbox, they had Tales of Vesperia because they wanted to do an HD system, and Xbox made a deal. And PlayStation was kind of off by a couple of years. So, Tales of Vesperia came out. But because of how low Tales of Vesperia's sales were, we didn't get games in America for a while. So, this started off a new renaissance of Tales. This is when modern Tales started kicking in. Like, Tales, the late Tales is the new Tales that you know, not like right before Arise, comes from here, right before Arise. Rise is the new century, is the new era, but but there is one on here that I don't have, but it's on PS4, so I'll just tell you that later. But it all started with Tales of Grace, and oh my god, I hate it. I don't hate the main character Asbel. I just hate the father so much. But I love this game, and I beat everything in this game. Like, not all the quests. I mean, just like all the stories, like the main story, including futures. And what really sucks about this game right here is that when they first promoted this game in Japan, they had Code Geass costumes. The worst part was they never brought them over to the United States, probably due to license fees and stuff. And then the 25th anniversary of Tales happened, and luckily this was an anniversary anyway. Like, I think it was for the 10th anniversary of Tales, so they recycled it as a 5th anniversary for our side, and this would be Tales of Zilla, and this would be the first game with two protagonists. One female, one male. Uh, Jude, I think his name was Jude or something. Yeah, Jude, and Mithra, and you find out over time about the characters and everything. And it was also the very first Tales game to get actually a sequel since Tales of Destiny 2, and an actual number sequel. Tales of Destiny 2 and Tales of Symphonia, but this is an actual sequel. Like, you get to see the characters and how they grew since the game has begun, and it's a good game. And it has a lot of things that JRPGs have, that RPG they that some games do have, like dialogue choices and stuff. But thinking about looking back, graduating 15 years ago, and I'm turning 33 next week. So, not literally next week, in a couple of days. It was kind of nice to look back, and this is kind of like my love letter to PlayStation 3. And, I love the Xbox. I do. I love the 360. But I like this system the best because I think it got me through a tough time in my life. Um, I mean, I barely had some. I had some really interesting times and stuff. So I want to just say to this system that thank you for getting me through these times, through my unemployments. Um, you see, you know, through the rough times and the recession, and and everything. But It's funny to reminisce how far I've come, and thinking about how far I came as a person, not just with work, but everything. Learning how to edit, learning how to do this, and because I want to keep PlayStation ingrained and I want to keep the space up like small. I'm gonna keep this version for archive reasons, for archival reasons. I got rid of the PS4 because I really don't need it. This is for backup archiving in case anything happens. But I'm planning on making this into the ultimate PlayStation. I'm gonna put I'm gonna try to put an SSD in here. I'm gonna try to put a a real effort to make it really good. I want to get a really big SSD in here. I want to get at least a terabyte SSD, which shouldn't be that expensive. Um, get a really big terabyte SSD in here. Clean it up if I can. Oh, you see some of the dust that's coming off of here. Clean it up and everything. I just want it to be, I want to have this as a reserve for all the PlayStations that we had before. And, so I can be able to go from PlayStation 1, PlayStation 3, PlayStation, from this system and then the PS4 to PS5. And, I want to make this like an archive thing. Nintendo's not the best with archiving. Xbox is amazing at that stuff. But Sony, they were kind of ahead of the curve. They were the ones that implemented all that stuff. Nintendo did it with the GBA, and then Sony made it even better with the PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 1. I don't even know where my PlayStation 1 is right now anymore. That's why I am going to try to make this into the ultimate PlayStation. Because we need to preserve our history and remind us where we came from. Like I said, I can retire this guy until he needs to be called once again. So, if you find any of this informative, what did the PlayStation do for you? Um, I will probably make a part 2 to this another time, talking about what makes the PlayStation itself special. The PlayStation 3 is so special, like the features and stuff, not just it's a Blu-ray player, but what made that generation very special. And yeah, have a good night, everybody. If you're listening to this at night, or if you're listening to it today, have a good morning or a good afternoon. All right, this is Kyle, the Mediaverse Podcast, signing out. Have a good one.